Greetings everybody, it's GleeCon here again with another episode of Lore of Warcraft in the voice with the frozen camera instantaneous there. We're getting just closer and closer both to playing Warcraft and to getting the camera probably just hours away. On our last episode we read Cycle of Hatred and we got a little kind of calm before the storm where we had a quiet scene of levity in a bar with Egwene and Lorena before they decided to turn their sights on attacking and bringing the fight to Smodlor. We've also been reading the Dungeons and Dragons version of World of Warcraft Classic, and we are in Chapter 2, which is discussing the regions of Central Kalimdor, so stay a while and listen as we continue along our journey there from the perspective of Bran Bronzebeard as he travels to Durotar. Durotar's capital is Orgrimmar, very large capital, but if you, I think back, I'm not sure. That should be a big capital. We haven't looked at the Eastern Kingdoms, and I don't know if we will. It's the actual population overall is huge. It's the biggest land we've seen so far, as well as should be. Mostly orc, with a lot of troll, tauren, a good chunk of Forsaken, and there are a few humans kicking it about in Durotar, probably evil, Burning Blade. Durotar is a proving ground for young orcs who are sent to the Valley of Trials to complete several rites of passage before they are considered fit for the challenges that lie ahead. Durotar is the new homeland of the orcs and the site of the orcs' principal city of Orgrimmar. While the orcs founded their city of Orgrimmar here, Durotar has become something of a haven for all of the horde races, especially the trolls, people, and culture. Durotar is the most populated of all horde-controlled regions as well as their cultural center. Here, young orcs, tauren, and trolls study shamanism and hunting. There's a strong sense of unity here, although a number of horde members are disturbed by the growing presence of the Forsaken in their lands. I expected this central point for the horde to also be a major battlefield, and that I would be attacked on sight. I couldn't have been more wrong. Most of the people here are trying to live normal lives, focusing on agriculture and spiritual pursuits. That doesn't mean their guards didn't try to rough me up, but after I put the first couple of them on the floor, the rest were smart enough to realize they would be dead if I wanted them to be. After that, most of the people left me alone. A few were even willing to talk to me. I suspect some of them had never seen a dwarf before. Beyond the horde, harpies, centaur, and quillboar are prevalent in specific regions of Durotar, attacking caravans and neighboring villages. These prove to be some of the first challenges for young warriors before they move on to bigger battles. These creatures are hardly organized enough to pose a major threat. The troll language. Trolls of all types speak Zandali, which is descended from their ancestral tongue, though some have descended so far into barbarism that they have forgotten this language. Jungle troll characters may choose to speak Zandali instead of Low Common. In addition, characters of all types may take the skill Speak Language Zandali to become conversant in the troll tongue. These are both from the original source, not the original, the World of Warcraft RPG. So a couple source books back, the revamped one, they gave you those options. Because in the original, they didn't even have trolls on the scene at first. Geography. The geography of Durotar is similar to that of the orcs' original homeland of Draenor, which is probably part of the reason why they are so comfortable settling here. The land is dry, baked red by the sun, and littered with cacti and watering holes. The landmass itself is a long expanse separated from mainland Kalimdor by the South Fury River. Durotar is south of Ajara. The southern tip of Durotar ends at the Great Sea. The eastern coast is littered with sunken ships and considered to be a prime scavenging spot. The wildlife of the land includes boars, scorpions, raptors, crocolists, thunder lizards, and makrura. South Fury River. The South Fury forms a natural border between the western portion of Durotar and the northeastern Barrens. Sites and settlements. The overwhelming majority of the sites of interest in Durotar are horde communities. There's the Dry Gulch Ravine, consisting of canyons walled by rocky cliffs. The ravine is completely infested by the Dustwind tribe of harpies. Echo Isles. After the Third War, when the horde settled in Durotar, Thrall made these islands off the southern tip available to the trolls. Recently, a Darkspear troll named Zalazane decided that the trolls did not need the orcs as allies and began practicing dark magic. He drove his fellow trolls off of the islands, converted followers, and created the zombies who now inhabit the Echo Isles. I suspect an agent of the Scourge may have infiltrated Zalazane, since the Scourge seems to have a monopoly on zombie-creating crazies. Orgrimmar, this city is the base of operations for the Horde. See a separate listing below. Yeah, it's a major city. And Razor Hill is the first main town you come to as an orc. Razor Hill is a Horde-controlled town and one of two major Horde outposts in Durotar. Its leader, Orgnil Soulscar, is occupied with investigating the Burning Blade. That's my dog playing with a rock. He is... I'm not sure what to say about his level of intelligence, but this is a dog that hoards and chews on rocks. He will find the biggest rocks he can fit in his mouth, carry them to his crate, and then put them under his mat like it's treasure, and then from time to time just take it out and chew on giant rocks. So yeah, that's what he's doing now. Ascension Village. This is the troll village where most of the Darkspear tribe relocated after Zalazane drove them out of the Echo Isles. The trolls here practice more peaceful shamanism and are trying to fight their way back to reclaiming their island home. Skull Rock. Skull Rock is a Burning Blade hideout, a cave system where the orc warlock Gazuz hides. Several other Burning Blade caves probably exist in this area. I found out about this one completely by accident while wandering. I suspect the Burning Blade is trying to use locations like this to prepare for an invasion of Orgrimmar, but it will be a long time before they are able to amass that kind of support. Thunder Ridge. The ridge is home to behemoth lightning lizards, which help to obscure the presence of the Burning Blade here, led by the goblin warlock Fizzle Darkstorm. Until I heard about this place, I wasn't even aware that goblin warlocks existed. Tiragard Keep is a small fortress, the only Alliance outpost in the area. Soldiers loyal to Admiral Dalen Proudmoore, father of Jaina Proudmoore, man Tiragard, much like Northwatch Hold and the Barons. That's why these are like violent NPCs. They're mobs. They're not actually like Alliance people. Since Dalen's death, they have continued their crusade against the Horde. While Jaina does not approve of their actions, the majority of the Alliance accepts the dangerous philosophy of these troops. Personally, I view them as being almost as fanatical and stupid as the Scarlet Crusade. I suspect Thrall hasn't crushed this group out of mercy, and that may prove a strategic mistake. Valley of Trials. This area is where new arrivals are tested by being put through several rites of passage, from the simple thinning out the boar population to the daunting killing the summoned creatures of the Burning Blade. Any young orc finds the Valley of Trials to be a perfect place to cut his tusks, and that's the starting zone for orcs. History. After uniting the clans and revitalizing his people, Thrall was visited by the prophet Medivh, who convinced the war chief to travel across the Great Sea to the land of Kalimdor. Thrall and his forces landed on the eastern shores of the continent. After overcoming a series of challenges, Thrall met again with Medivh, who convinced Thrall to ally with Jaina Proudmoore and Malfurion Stormrage. It was shortly following this event that the final battle of the Third War unfolded. The defeat of Archimonde signaled the end of the Third War. Soon after, Thrall settled in the territory where he and his forces had first landed. Thrall named the new land Durotar in honor of his father Durotan, who had tried in vain to prevent the orcs from following the path that would lead them to demonic dependence. Let's read about Zalazane, the 4th level necromancer, like a witch doctor. This large troll is draped in black robes and wears a black and white wooden mask reminiscent of both necromancy and voodoo. Wrinkled hands grip a dark quarterstaff with a humanoid skull on the top. And this is the best friend of Vol'jin, if you remember from our short story we read a while back. Zalazane in his mid-50s decided that his people did not need the help of the orcs in order to succeed. He was further offended when he heard about Thrall's distrust of arcane magic. With the help of a number of similar-minded trolls and summoned zombies, Zalazane drove most of his fellow jungle trolls from the Echo Isles. He continues to attack the other trolls of the Darkspear tribe, and his reasoning is unknown. The source of his knowledge of necromantic magic is equally mysterious. In combat, Zalazane begins the fight by summoning undead. He then uses Death Coil and other offensive spells until he exhausts his repertoire, then wades into melee or retreats. And here are some adventure hooks. The Horde's cultural center is in constant strife, much to the dismay of the orcs, who are finally adapting to the possibility of a more peaceful lifestyle. In this time of conflict, young and experienced adventurers alike find many chances to prove their mettle. They can do the Test of Blood quest. The Burning Blade clan assassinates the orcs responsible for training young orcs in the Valley of Trials and takes their places. These trainers in disguise give deadly tests intended to slaughter the young orcs. The few who survive are given the chance to join the Burning Blade or die. And very big bad voodoo. Zalazane's experiments on the Echo Isles have progressed far further than the Horde ever anticipated, and the trolls create greater undead such as abominations. The war chief calls for a full assault on the Echo Isles before the situation escalates. And again, we are not going to cover Orgrimmar because it's going to have its own section, its own video. Hey everybody, I thank you so much for watching and for listening to another episode as we journey through all of the weirdness that is World of Warcraft and the Warcraft universe in all forms. This episode is in the pipe 5x5. See you next time on Lore of Warcraft.